computer. And for those that, okay, this is the awareness hour, and we are starting at 5:30. It's been a crazy day, Michael. So sorry about that. I've had back-to-back interviews, and so it's been a madhouse. So Jackie, I know Jackie for almost 9 years now. She
Wow.
was
Oh my
assistant
goodness,
manager at
yes.
Katie. She was assistant manager at Katie Jar. She had her own show for a while, but since the pandemic, it's kind of like crazy, and so I figured I'd bring on Jackie. So Jackie, introduce
Hi,
yourself.
I'm Jackie.
Jackie.
Hello. I'm really excited to be a part of this. It's just been so crazy. It feels like a weird Twilight Zone reset. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So I'm just so
Everything's been kind
happy
of crazy.
to be a part of this. Yes, it has. It has. I mean, where do
Yeah.
you even start?
I don't. I don't know. And it's been.
Yeah.
It's. I don't know. It's interesting to know that we're coming on a year almost, like next month. And
Yeah.
it's like,
It is.
I never thought. I didn't think it would go away right away, but I just didn't think it would last a year. So like coming on the year anniversary is so. I don't know.
It's kind of eerie. I'm
Yeah.
saying it's a Twilight. It really is. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So Michael, tell us what you do and how long have you been doing it?
Well, so I'm one of Matt's clients. Matt Jason.
Yes.
Matt reps me as a writer and a director. And I've been in the film industry for about 15 years, and I've been writing and directing for the last 2 to 3. Starting to do it more full time. Everything kind of halted during the pandemic, naturally. But my writing partner and I did write a couple of scripts that we were hired to write during the pandemic, so that kind of kept me a little focused. And I was able to do a couple of horror shorts with my friends where we were able to have just a few of us on set, and we were able to stay masked up and socially distant. So that was kind of cool. But what's interesting is one of the things I did during the pandemic was in 2000 and oh my god, okay, so 2019. I have to remember when the pandemic was. 2019. I did a lot of traveling,
Right.
and I was like, man, I keep going to all these great places, and I keep seeing all these really cool things, and I wish that I could take really great photos because I would do it on my phone, right? But the
Right.
phone, you see these like beautiful like vista landscapes, and your cell phone doesn't take great photos. And I ended up traveling to like 3 different countries, and I ended up I came back here to the U.S. and I was all over I went to like the Rocky Mountains with my dad, and then I did this road trip with Harley Davidson, and I was like, okay, that's it. I'm getting in the camera. So right at the end of, dare I say, I'm trying. The timeline of this is crazy. So the pandemic was in 2019, but into 2020, right?
Right.
So in 2019, no, at the end of 2019 into 2020, I bought a camera. That's what it was. Oy vey, all the timeline is crazy. You're right. It's like a time warp. Yeah. Because I know we're early into 2021. That's why the timeline's off. So early 2020, I bought a camera, and
Right.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna start taking photos because I'm traveling so much. And I went to Mazatlan last year for my birthday, right before the pandemic hit.
Nice.
Right. It was unbelievable. It was amazing. My roommate and I have our birthdays are this month. We had an all-inclusive resort. It was totally legit. And then my father and I had planned a trip to Europe last year because his birthday's in April. So I'm like, okay, I'll go to Mexico for my birthday. We'll go to Europe for his birthday. I come back from Mexico, everything shuts down.
Yep.
So I was like, all right, Dad, well, we're not taking a trip. And my dad was so excited because he never traveled before. So it's his first time. And so I had bought this camera and was thinking about just wanting to take better pictures. So my friend Candace, who's also read by Matt, was like, look, I need photos. You have a camera. You got to learn to use the damn thing. Let's go take photos. I was like, all right, but I don't want to be a photographer. I just want to take better photos when I travel. She's like, you're going to take photos. It'll be fine. Well, we took a really cool fitness photo shoot, and she really loved the photos. And she's like, wow, you're really good at this. You should be a photographer. I was like, I don't want to be a photographer. I just want to take better photos. And she's like, I'm going to tell everybody you're good. You're going to be a photographer. And I was like, it's not going to work that way, Candace. But sure enough, it's like, once one of Matt's clients saw that I took photos, another one wanted photos, Marco. And Marco's like, wow, you're really good at this. And I was like, all right, I just want to stay sane during the pandemic, so I'm just going to take photos. So like once the pandemic hit, um, we couldn't really go anywhere. So I would actually just walk around the neighborhood with my camera and just take photos because I could do that safely. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't have to be around anybody. Da, da, da. And then I also lived with a girl at the time who was also a model. So like she and I would take trips and I take photos, or I would just go find a place I'd never been to in LA before, and I was like, I went to the Arboretum and things that I could do by myself. I just went with my camera and I was like, I'm just gonna go take photos. So that was like one of the ways that I was able to stay sane during the pandemic. So the pandemic made me a photographer. So as of now, and it's funny because it's just one of those things. Like I woke up this morning and I was like, all right, well, I'm feeling creatively stifled. There's not much going on right now. I know Valentine's Day is coming up. I don't know when this is going to air, but so I went to Michael's today and I just bought a whole bunch of like Valentine's Day stuff, and I sat at my kitchen table and I just put a whole little display together and just started taking pictures of it.
Nice. Well, it usually our show airs that same day, so I usually edit and I convert it into a YouTube and then a MP3 audio, so it'll be beautiful, that day. So.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Well, I just try to find ways to be creative, and I never, like I said, never wanted to be a photographer. I really wanted to be a writer. Like I grew up oddly being a singer, and then I kind of fell into writing, and then from writing, I did poetry for a while, and when I first got to LA,
Nice.
and then I had a play produced back in 2011, which was an all Latino cast. It was like a story about an older woman. And so I kind of adapted that into a script. So it's like I kind of had this weird like journey of like, okay, I want to be a poet, and then I wanted to be a novelist, and then I kind of fell into film and did that for a while, and now I'm writing and directing, and now I'm doing photography. Yeah. So I just like to stay creative.
So what did you direct? What kind of movies did we see you in?
Well, I mostly do horror, which is funny because I'm such a nice guy, but I don't know. You know what it is my dad loved horror movies when I was a kid. My cousin, who was one of my best friends, he loves horror movies. And the house I grew up in when I was a kid was haunted. So
wow.
We used to always hear noises and things. So I think I sort of took all of that, and I don't only do horror. I just mostly do horror. So my friends and I launched a little horror channel called Horror House, which we've done 4 films now. We're about to do our 5th one next month. Cool. Just little shorts to kind of just like show people, hey, we like what we do. We want to make fun movies. Our last one we just did, Bag of Tricks. People loved it. It did really well. And so we're going to adapt that into a feature and try to probably shoot that right before summer. We're going to do the feature version of it called Bag of Tricks. So that's kind of fun. So it's horror.
Really cool. Yeah.
So what is Bag of Tricks about? So
it's basically about this little what is it?
Oh, I was wondering the same exact thing right now. Like, what was it about?
It's a story about Timmy the Ghost, and every year on Halloween he knocks on your door, and you're supposed to give him candy, and if you don't give him candy, he takes your soul.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's horror. Come on, it's gotta be fun. So like it's a lot of fun, yeah. So we did a short version of it just to see how it would turn out, and people loved it. So now we're gonna be doing the feature version.
So did you get to be a part of Central Authority by BAS? Were you part of that?
I was part of the Central Authority, yes. Yeah, it's so funny because I don't act a lot, so you'll have to forgive me that I didn't mention it. But
see,
they were looking. No clue. What is it?
Jackie has no clue what Central Authority is, so maybe you could tell her what it is about.
Oh yes, please do. I mean, fill me in.
Central Authority was a movie. So when the pandemic hit, Kristen West and Dana, who are the producers, and Armin had this idea of like, well, we're stuck in the middle of a pandemic, and like, what does that mean for everybody? It's like we're living in a world right now where we're all socially distanced and we're talking online. So they decided to do a socially distanced movie, right?
Oh, okay.
And so they reached out to everybody, and they're like, oh, if you want to be in this movie and you're an actor, we're doing this movie. And the idea was, in this age when we're in the middle of a pandemic and you have to be safe, but you're still trying to stay relevant. You know, social media is a big thing.
Yeah.
People create these online shows and they have to stay relevant. And if you get below a certain amount, which I think is 50 million, you die. So
Ouch.
yeah, so it was a fun concept. I actually, because I don't act a lot, I I didn't create my own show for Central Authority. I was one of the guests on somebody else's show.
Okay. Okay.
And so I played this guy by the name of Robert Plant, who is a new plant dad. So I just got a. So there was a one of the actresses, Narlia, played this sort of plant whisperer. And so
Okay.
and this is really funny. So about a year and a half, couple years ago, my friend Vanessa is a big TikToker, and she did this whole skit about her plucking sunflowers, and I was dressed as a sunflower, and I tackled her and pulled her hair. You'd be like, "How do you like it?" It's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because I already had this costume, I wore the costume again in the movie as a way to like be one with my plant. So I was dressed up as a plant. So it's a silly little skit. I had fun doing it. We shot
I
it
feel like people
online.
could relate to that.
Well, if you really think about it, when we went into the pandemic, people couldn't go anywhere and they were frustrated and scared and felt lonely and detached from the world. I feel like a lot of things like TikTok became more popular because
Yeah.
people could do creative things. They could be silly. They could talk about, you know, the things that bother them. They can do all these new trends and stuff. So I think that's why the popularity came. And of course, from that, we got Instagram Reels.
Yeah.
So there's definitely something about people who are trying to stay relevant, I think, and sort of creative at the same time during the pandemic. So I think that's what made the Central Authority so relatable and real. It's just like the pandemic was never an excuse to like stay relevant. It was probably
Right.
more of a reason to be like, I gotta stay relevant. So that's what was so fun about it. And because I don't act very often, it was kind of fun to do something completely different and out of character for me.
Yeah,
And
it had to have been.
Jackie, Central Authority, from what I've been told, it's going to be either launching in March, at the end of
Oh,
March,
okay.
or sometime in April. They don't know the exact platform which is going to be on, so we don't know if it's going to be Amazon, Netflix, you know.
Uh, okay.
So we don't.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I have to talk to Kristen. She is the director. She's been on the show twice already.
Yeah, she's
So I'll
great.
get more.
Great.
I'll get more information from her. So yeah.
I'd love to see that. It sounds funny. You know what
Yeah,
I
it's
mean?
fun. It's it's
Being attacked by your flowers.
yeah. I seen. There's a couple of like there's some people that do like right wing politics, left wing politics. You know, and sort of like they have callers that call in. I'm trying to think. Like my friend Todd was in it. He did I had a friend, my friend Lachelle was in it. She played like this sort of like Oprah um kind of character. She did a talk show. So it is fun. It's a lot of fun.
I think if we can bring it up on YouTube or advanced sharing, I don't know how to do that share tag, but I know there's a feature on here where you can share the video of Central Authority on here.
Oh
That
yeah,
way,
there's a
Jackie,
trailer.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a trailer
Oh,
for that.
If not, you might have to link it into the show notes, but there's definitely I mean, if you go to my website, michaelcoulombe.com, under projects, I have the trailer there on my website. So all my projects are on my website. All my photography, everything.
So
sweet.
what are you working now? What are you doing right now during what are you directing right now? Because last time we were supposed to have an interview and you said you were working in a movie.
Oh,
Mm.
because I also when I'm not I also script supervise on the side sometimes to make money. So what I was working on last time, I don't remember. I was doing I think a movie for Lifetime. I work as a crew
Nice.
member, as a script
Nice.
supervisor.
Okay.
Yeah. And so but that's sort of like my side job that I don't really talk a lot about. But I did but it's what I got started with in the film industry is script supervising. It's what so most people don't know, but at the age of 30, I was facing sort of like this midlife crisis and I wasn't happy with where my life was going. So
Mm.
at the age of 30, I walked off my job.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I had no money saved. Really, I was just like I had no plan. I just knew that I couldn't do what I wanted to be doing. And so I had learned about script supervising because it was my way of learning how to write scripts. It was just So my goal was to like, I'll do it for a couple of years and figure things out. And I've been doing it for almost, without giving my age away, I've been doing it for about almost 15 years. Almost.
Oh, it's funny how that works out, huh?
Yeah, it's funny how I'm still the same age.
Oh.
I'm just saying. But yeah. But yeah, it's so, and from there, it's made me a better writer. It's made me a better director. I've just met a lot of cool people. So that's my full-time job. But yeah, I do write and direct and photography and everything. So I thank you for letting me push the show. I apologize about that, Michelle.
Oh, no worries, no worries, because I know Matt would tell me to push it. So that's the main thing he wants me to push is Central Authority right now. So Jackie, you will meet Matt in a little bit. He's really cool. We've had
Great.
some terrific guests on the show. We had Patrick on the show. We had Cameron on the show, and then Kristen West on the show. So a lot of we're booked for the whole entire month of February until I go into surgery. So we owe a lot to Matt. So
Matt's fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
Matt's been great. I love Matt. He's great. So
Cool.
I actually, one of the things I have coming out is, over the course of like the last 5 years, I've directed a bunch of horror shorts. And so we compiled them into a feature, an anthology, which is supposed to be coming out soon on Tubi. We're just waiting. But so they have 9 films that I directed, and that's called Dark Lullabies.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's all films that I directed. And then soon, a friend of mine is doing the same thing with 9 movies that he directed, but 2 of those I wrote. And so he's releasing his own anthology called The Red Nightmare. I think that's what it's called, The Red Nightmare. And so 2 of those movies I wrote, one's called The Lady, and the other one's called Santa. And they're on his YouTube channel. And The Lady we wrote for, there's this app camera system called Wise. It's like a little camera. You can like put it by your door, and if it sees movement, it sends a little video to your phone.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, so it's called Wise. They sponsored a shoot that we did, a little horror shoot that we did about a spooky lady that comes to the house.
Oh, wow.
So I wrote that one, which will be part of that anthology. And the other one I wrote was called Santa, which is about, killing Santa. It's a creepy Santa. But that one's on his YouTube channel, and it actually almost has like 2.6 million views on his YouTube page. That one.
Okay. Jackie, you're gonna have to watch the horror films because I'm a scaredy cat when it comes to horror films.
No, I'm sorry. I do a lot of, but I do a lot. I did do a Christmas movie last year that came out, so I do everything.
Santa.
Yeah, Santa's. Well, no, I did one called Christmas Eve. So that one with my friend Jenna, she wrote that one.
Okay.
I directed it. It's not a horror movie, I promise. So.
Okay.
We can watch that one together, Michelle.
Yeah.
Aliens and Geeks the other day. I saw a little snip clip of what Cameron did. I'm like, oh wow. I don't know if you know Cameron, but he's a casting director, and so I
Carmen.
Carmen. Yeah.
Oh, Carmen's great. Yeah, I love Carmen.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting. I'm not really a horror like so. I'm like, I'm more like comedy, musical, and romantic type things. So I'm like, yeah. So
I've written so many different genres. I've written so many things. I'm actually working on a comedy right now, so I do other things. It's just for some reason I just like horror. It's like my sort of like go-to thing. So
what comedy are you working on now? What?
Without giving too much away, it's sort of like a It's based on a story that a friend told me, so it's loosely based on a story, but it's a sort of a Melissa McCarthy type comedy about an older woman who wants to be a race car driver.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's actually really funny. So it's based on a true story. A friend of mine, Denise, told me a couple of stories, and they were hysterical. And I was like, this would make a great movie. So I started working on this. I was working on a little bit during the pandemic. We had a reading of it and stuff. So I've been working on that on the side too when I'm not doing the 100 other things. But yeah, that's a fun little story.
And so I know our time's almost up, but where can they find you on social media? I know we're gonna have a part 2.
Oh yes, plug us with all the links.
We're gonna have part 2 because I want to know what's happening after the comedy and the horror and see where we're at because I want to follow you on Facebook. I want to
Yeah.
make sure my listeners know who you are because I have a lot of friends who love horror comedy.
Yes.
And so you can follow us on Amazon Music, Pandora. Oh God, Jackie, help me out here. I'm blanking out. Spotify,
Yeah.
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio. Just look at the
The
screen. You can
Podomatic
follow
right
that
there.
right there.
I basically
And,
just say wherever podcasts are, you can listen to it.
yes, and we do have a shop online. It's threadless.com. I'm wearing the
The
shirt
designs are adorable too.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
that is Maxie Rodriguez
They're
design.
so cute.
And she is a graphic
She's great.
designer. So she did the logo in the back for me. So
I
we
love
have we have a team, just like you guys have a team. We have a team of wonderful people who help the awareness show. We've been doing podcasting for 9 years,
Wow.
and I broke away from KDHR about 2 years ago. So I'm doing remote. So I learned how to convert Zoom meetings into YouTube and then MP3 format, so my audio listeners can listen onto podcasts. And
So
so
smart. Smart.
I asked Jackie to come on board because I get sometimes too much going on. It's like, so, and then Matt, he has been tremendous. He's been booking me with all these wonderful guests. And so a shout out to Matt. And,
Oh, Matt's great.
we've been doing, like I said, podcasting for 9 years. We started out in KDHR, and then we had a dungeon, and then we went up to Jackie remembers the dungeon.
I
We
worked
call it
there.
dungeon.
I was doing
Well,
events and
we
promotions.
call it
It was
we call
wild.
it the bat cave because there was
Oh, that's funny.
no service whatsoever. We had very little internet, and then we finally went up to Cal State.
But we
And
made
then-
it work.
Yeah.
We made it
We did.
work.
Hey, look, we as the pandemic has taught us, we can adapt. So
Oh, heck yeah.
So
yeah.
we want to have. Go ahead, Jackie.
I was just going to say something really quick. I took a really quick peek and I was just wondering about your Mimosas podcast.
You know what's so funny is I started doing a podcast about 3 years ago. I haven't done it in the last few months just because I kind of went on hiatus because I was busy traveling through the holidays. But Mimosas with Michael is my podcast. And so the idea of the podcast is every Sunday friends get together for mimosas and kind of catch up. So my podcast and Mimosas with Michael is just two friends catching up over mimosas. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just like, oh, you're in a movie. Tell me about your movie. And then it's like a banter back and forth. So instead of me interviewing them, it's just like two friends talking.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, that's the idea. So it's very chill and laid back.
She's my research person, so that she's gonna help me look up more information about all my celebrities that are coming up. We've had so many celebrities stopping by the awareness show. We had Marion Ross from Happy Days come on to the show.
Wow.
We've had the late Don Wells come on to the show, and we want to give a shout out to Harlan. He was giving me those guests as well. We had Loretta Swift on the show. We had Dean Wallace from E.T. She was.
Oh, I love
the
Dee.
show.
She's been on Mimosas with Michael. I love Dee.
Nice.
Yeah, I did a movie with her years ago. She's phenomenal.
Gabrielle Stolden. She was on the awareness show, and so.
Oh yeah, her daughter. Yeah.
Her daughter, yes. And then we had about a couple weeks ago we had Hanson Williams. He played Potsy from Happy Days. He was on the show.
Yeah.
So our show is growing, and so what we came about doing the podcast a long time ago is because I got diagnosed at the age of 30. It's called 22q11. What it is a tiny piece of a chromosome. So it's like Down syndrome, but it's not. So you have 200 different symptoms going on, and you have congenital heart defects, you got teeth issues, learning disabilities, you have schizophrenia, you have all these going on, but each person who has 22q does not have all those features going on.
Yeah, okay. It's just like
And so I got it by accident. Nobody in my family has it. It is genetic. You can't get it, but unfortunately my family doesn't have it. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
So we started doing I started doing this so I could make people more aware about 22q, but the show's not actually about 22q. It's about rare diseases, causes, and events that celebrity wants to bring, to the table.
You know what's interesting is 3 years ago I got diagnosed with a condition called hemochromatosis.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is interesting because apparently it's the same thing. It's a hereditary thing, and I was one of the first people in my family to be diagnosed with it. But I have it's a rare, not rare, but it's a recessive gene I have to get from both sides. So I have to, both my parents are carriers. Um, and so I'm going to be 46 in a couple of weeks, and I got diagnosed at the age of 43. So I've had it my entire life. I didn't know. And one 40 about 3 years ago in January, I was driving, and I had worked out that morning, and I had whatever, and I was driving, and I was on the freeway, and I blacked out. And
Oh,
by
wow.
the grace of God, I was stuck in traffic because I live in LA. So I woke up, and all the cars in front of me were moving a little bit, but there was a huge accident. So I had been stuck in traffic, and I was just like, and for like a minute, I could barely move. I couldn't even function. So I thought I was having a stroke.
That's scary.
And it took me, but I knew, I could sense that I was stuck in traffic. I just didn't know. I was like, where am I going? Like, what was I doing? Why, so I called a friend of mine to see if I could talk, and I could. So I knew I was functioning. And so then I felt like I was really weak. So I thought maybe it was a diabetic thing. So I went to the doctors, and they're like, well, we see that you have a lot of iron in your blood, more than most people your age should have. So we want you to come back again, because they thought I ate. So when I came back again, they saw that I had really high iron. And they're like, well, your levels aren't changing. Well, let's take another test. And so they took a test for hemochromatosis, and I tested positive. So it's hereditary hemochromatosis. So what it means is I can't consume iron. My body doesn't actually release it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I'm not. Most women are like, I have too little iron.
Yeah, that's me.
And it's because when you menstruate, your body releases a lot of iron.
Right.
Yeah.
So women with my condition don't usually show signs until after menopause, when their body stops menstruating. I, on the other hand, every 3 months have to go get blood removed to lower my iron levels.
So you're also at high risk too. So you're stuck at home during the pandemic, right?
I mean, people think it's weird because I'm not sure if it's considered like a high risk condition. My doctor hasn't mentioned anything, but for me, it just means like, I mean, I have it under control now after 3 years. So I just don't eat red meat. I mean, I have a whole dietary thing now.
Oh, wow. So
so my iron level is perfect.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But had I not known about it, I probably could have been at a high risk.
Yeah. And speaking of, and this is what the Rare Disease Show is about. February is also Rare Disease Month. So
I didn't know that.
February 28th is Rare Disease Days, and so they have over 7,000 different rare diseases out there. And
that's crazy.
Yeah. So you have Down syndrome, which is number one. Then you have 22q, which is like the second most common to Down syndrome. So you've got all these, list of different diseases that nobody has heard of, and that's basically what the awareness show is about. So we try to make sure you guys are aware of different holidays and different stuff that are happening. So like this month is Go Red Ribbon Month, because it's Heart Month. We also have Congenital Heart Week, which is this week.
Oh, okay.
So those that don't know what congenital heart defect is, you can go online. It's hard to explain it on Zoom. So I have a congenital heart defect. I had 3 open heart surgeries.
Oh, wow.
And that's part of the syndrome, 22q. But like I said, each person who has 22q is totally different. Doesn't have the same features or what. So I've had 3 open heart surgeries. I've had 3 sinus surgeries. I'm gonna have another surgery coming up at the end of February. And so, like I said, I got diagnosed at 30. I didn't know what 22q was. I didn't know about all these other rare diseases that are out there. So I started getting interested, and more people coming in saying, hey, I have this disease, like you just said that. And then Kristen had, she's got something going on. So it's just, that's how the awareness show came about. So
I think it's a great idea. Thank you so much for doing that, because, it's like, for me, like with me, my thing is because having too much, because iron is such a heavy metal, so having it long term in your body, it treats it like poison, so it can sit in your liver and lead to
Right.
cirrhosis, even if I don't drink. So but most people don't. Like when I'm on set and I'm like, oh, I can't have that. It has too much iron. They're like, well, yeah, that's a thing, and I'm like, yeah, but I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't even know what it existed until I had it. So
Yeah.
bringing awareness to people, I think, is very smart.
Yeah, and a lot of
Mhm.
people, like they said, there's like 7,000 different diseases. You're like, oh, I didn't know any of that stuff. I didn't,
Right.
Yeah,
So you're sitting there Googling, and then you find out somebody else has it. Oh, I have this, and then
yeah,
it's just,
It
it,
spreads.
yeah. So it's kind of interesting. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. It's
So
very, very, very interesting. So thank you so much
they
for
have
sharing your story.
they have rare disease film festivals every year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did not know that until somebody
I
brought
didn't know
that
that
up to
either.
me. They said that they had a film that they did, and they brought it to Rare Disease Film Festival, and it came out pretty good. I forgot the name of it,
Oh
but
wow.
then
I
you
can probably just
hear,
Google
hear
that.
then you hear Crip Camp. You guys gotta watch that. That is a huge documentary about disability rights.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh.
I don't know if you heard of Crip Camp. It's on Netflix, so you can
I'll
watch
look that
it.
up. That sounds interesting.
It is very interesting. And so they have these documentaries, and so more people are wanting to know about different types of diseases and stuff like that. There's a new one that just came out for the kids during COVID, and I forgot the name of it. It's a syndrome, and I can't think of the name of it right now.
Oh, but I think I've heard about this. It came up during the COVID, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So it's only affected the kids that have it right now. So
yeah.
Oh wow.
I mean, we're on a living planet, and it changes constantly. And as we
Yeah.
adapt, it's crazy. It's such a crazy world we're in.
yes. So Michael, what platform social media do you have so they
Oh
can
my goodness,
follow
what
you?
am I not on? So basically, if you, it's really easy to find me. If you Google Michael Coulombe, you'll find me. If you go to my website, michaelcoulombe.com, basically everything's there. I'm on Instagram, M Coulombe. I'm on Twitter. Um, I'm on TikTok. But most of
Oh,
that
that's
I do through
cool.
my photography too. So like from there, you can go to my photography page and find it all there too. So
Okay.
but yeah, michaelcoulombe.com. Literally everything about me is on my website.
And you're
Sweet.
on Instagram too?
I am, yeah, M Coulombe. My first initial, my last name.
Cool,
Okay.
because I'm gonna follow you on TikTok. I just started doing TikTok.
Yes, TikTok's fun. It's so I have two different. It's really interesting. I have two different ones. So I do one for my photography and one for my personal. On my personal page, I do a lot of the filmmaking stuff.
Oh, how
Cool.
cool.
Yeah, so you'll see little
Jackie's gotta
tidbits
be
of
on
stuff.
TikTok.
What is it?
I tell her Jackie she's gotta be on TikTok.
I know I haven't jumped on it.
You
Like
gotta
I've
do it.
just been dodging it at all
I know there's
costs.
there's a lot of platforms. I'm on all of them, but that's the thing is you kind of have to, it's one of the things I've had to learn
You
about being a
have to.
freelancer. You have to be on all because
It's so
I mean I'm
true.
on Twitch, but I never do it because I'm not a gamer. But like
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
platform where yeah, you'll just hit people up that an audience you would never think about. Like especially with the podcast, it's so great to have these things because people are like, oh, I didn't even know you existed. So
Yeah.
social media is a thing. I've had to learn to navigate it, and I'm in my early 40s. Well, I guess I'm in my mid 40s now. I had to learn all this crap. So but I love it. I love it. I've met some amazing people on social media, and I'm grateful for
Oh
that. And
heck yeah.
it's a good way to get the word out about what you're doing. So, Michael
Yeah.
Coulombe, Michael, and then my last name is Coulombe. It's French. So
Ooh.
Sweet.
yeah,
All right.
So
that's
Are
we're
you
gonna have a
fluent?
part- we're gonna
I'm
have a
not.
part
No, my dad's side's from Canada, but I was born in Orange County. So
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
I'm SoCal all the way, you guys.
Uh,
Born
see,
and bred.
I was born in Tucson, Arizona, lived there for 2 months, and came out here for the rest of my life.
I love Tucson. I've been there. I've shot down there before. So
I'm Orange
So
County also.
okay,
yes,
last question. Did you
yes.
watch the Super Bowl, Michael?
What's funny is I'm not big into sports, but I did watch the Super Bowl. We had a party here at my house, and when I say party, I mean me and my roommates ordered pizza and had beer. We were very
Sweet.
safe.
Okay. Yeah.
But I watched it. I mostly like to watch it for the the opening song, the halftime show and all the
Yeah.
commercials. So
Yeah.
What did you
Same.
think of the national anthem this year? It was different.
So I thought it was interesting. I'm like, oh, country. Okay, that's a cool thing. I'm not unopposed to country, but I did like the other woman that I'm sorry I don't know her name. Jacqueline, I think. Jasmine. I think her name was Jasmine, right?
Yes.
She was phenomenal, and I love that her did God Bless America because you got this badass chick with a guitar. It's
Right.
really cool. So I was really into that. Like I loved her version of it, and I thought the national anthem, the two different styles was interesting. I mean, it's not a horrible thing.
And the halftime. What do you think of the halftime?
The halftime show was great. I'm a fan of The Weeknd. I love it. I didn't realize that many songs until I heard that. I was like, oh, that's right. He had that. Oh, that's right. He had that song. Oh yeah, he did that song, huh?
I thought it was okay, but I think it was just the bad sound quality of it at the time. And I couldn't understand why they had the jock straps over their head.
So my understanding of that is he was doing a commentary on celebrities and as my roommate liked to point out, it was a commentary on I think celebrities and plastic surgery.
Oh,
So it's like they were having because The Weeknd, I think I could be 100% wrong, so nobody quote me on that, but that was my understanding of it.
okay.
Because he had done that. He recently before, I think at the beginning of the year, he was doing a whole thing, and I think he just carried that over into his.
Yeah, because he's been pushing the message of like to not drink and drive. And I think that's been like I think that's been the whole idea behind why he put so much into his look of like why he looks like he's banged up and all of that.
So I think it was a social commentary.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not mad about that.
Different. He's using his platform.
Yeah. Like exactly what you're doing to bring awareness, which I think is important.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Michael. I'm gonna post this and I'll send you the link on the email, and then I will tag Matt in it so he can share it with you guys. So,
yes, and I will post it on my website so people can find it.
Yes.
Yay!
I have a press section, so it's there. It'll be right there.
Sweet.
Awesome. Look for part 2 coming up. It'll probably be after March or sometime. I don't know, depending how I feel. So
yes, good luck with everything. Okay.
Yes. So again, this month is Heart Month, Go Red for Women, and we also have starting this week is Congenital Heart Defect Awareness Week. So you got all that stuff going on, and then February 28th is Rare Disease Day, and it's also Black History Month. So we got a lot of stuff going on.
It's also my birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday!
Well, my birthday's February 18th, you guys. February 18th. So I want
There you go.
I want Instagram messages. So.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll follow you on Instagram. Have a good one, guys.
You guys take care. Okay. Stay safe.
Bye. You too.
Bye.
Bye.